Did you know that a staggering 90% of attendees at presentations find the Q&A session to be the most valuable part of the presentation? That's why it's essential to have survival strategies in place to tackle any situation that may arise during a Q&A session. In this video, we'll go through 7 specific situations and provide you with the tools you need to come out on top. Get ready to learn how to navigate the unpredictable waters of questions with ease. Welcome to the final frontier in presentations, where preparation meets performance. Nerves are a natural reaction to being in the spotlight, but they can cause us to freeze up, stumble over our words, or even forget key points. However, with the right preparation and mindset, you can overcome your nerves and present with confidence. First, let's understand the reasons behind our nervousness during Q&A sessions. It could be due to a lack of familiarity with the topic, fear of judgment, or simply the pressure of performing in front of an audience. Whatever the reason may be, it's important to acknowledge and understand it. Now, onto the techniques for calming nerves and building confidence. One effective strategy is repetition. Repeat the question you've been asked, to ensure everyone in the audience hears it, and to give yourself some extra time to think about your answer. By repeating the question, you show that you're in control and confident. Another great way to overcome nervousness is preparation. Make sure you know your topic inside and out, so you're ready to answer any question that comes your way. Preparation not only helps with building confidence but also with demonstrating your expertise in the subject matter. If possible, consider asking a trusted colleague to ask the first relevant question you agreed upon. This not only breaks the ice, but it also helps you to feel more confident and motivates the audience to ask more questions. It's a win-win situation for everyone involved. So, don't let nerves get in the way of a great presentation. Remember, repetition and preparation are key to overcoming your nerves and presenting with confidence. You're up there, in front of the crowd, and suddenly a question is thrown your way that you just don't know the answer to. It's a moment that can leave you feeling exposed and vulnerable. But it's important to remember that everyone doesn't know everything, and it's completely okay to admit it. In fact, it's the perfect opportunity to showcase your skills in problem solving and information gathering. But how do you do it without losing credibility or appearing unprofessional? Here are a few tips to keep in mind. First, be honest. If you don't know the answer, simply say so. It's better to admit it than to bluff your way through and potentially say something incorrect. Next, show that you're taking the question seriously. You can say something like, "I'm not sure, but I'll check and get back to you. You can leave me your email after the presentation." This shows the audience that you value their questions and that you're making an effort to provide a helpful answer. Another option is to redirect the question to someone in the audience who may know the answer. This can be done respectfully by saying something like, "I don't have the answer, but I bet someone in the audience may have some insight." In conclusion, don't be afraid to admit when you don't know the answer. It's a chance to show that you're resourceful, honest, and willing to do whatever it takes to preserve your integrity to give the audience what they want. And remember, the more you practice handling these situations, the more confident and capable you'll become. Have you ever been in a Q&A session where you suddenly felt like you're under attack? A hostile questioner can leave you feeling rattled and unsure of how to respond. But with the right approach and techniques, you can turn a potentially negative experience into a positive one. So, why do some people ask hostile questions? The answer is often rooted in their own experiences or emotions, and has nothing to do with you personally. It's important to remember this and avoid getting defensive. Instead, take a deep breath, stay calm and try to see the question as an opportunity to show your professionalism and expertise. When faced with a hostile question, it's crucial to stay calm and keep your emotions in check. Instead of engaging in a heated argument, respond with facts and logic, briefly reiterating your stance and the reasoning behind it. By keeping a level head and focusing on the information, you can avoid fanning the flames and gracefully move on to the next question. One technique for handling a hostile question is to acknowledge the questioner's concerns and validate their feelings. For example, you could say something like, "I understand that you're concerned about this issue, and I appreciate you bringing it up." This can help diffuse the tension and put the questioner at ease. Another strategy is to reframe the question in a positive light. For example, you could say, "That's a great question, and it gives me the opportunity to clarify a few key points. This helps to turn a potentially negative experience into a positive one, and showcases your expertise and professionalism. Next time you're faced with a hostile question, remember to stay calm, acknowledge the questioner's concerns, and turn the situation into a positive opportunity. With these tools and techniques in your arsenal, you'll be able to handle even the toughest questions with confidence and grace. We've all faced moments where a question makes us feel uneasy. Maybe it's a personal topic, or one that we're not prepared for. It's important to recognize when a question is making us uncomfortable and to know how to handle it professionally in a Q&A session. Imagine this scenario. You're in the middle of a Q&A session and someone asks about your salary or your relationship status. These are questions that might make you feel uncomfortable in a professional setting. But what do? Do you answer truthfully, or do you dodge the question? The key is to stay professional, avoid getting defensive, and reframe the question in a way that allows you to answer with empathy. You can do this by acknowledging the question, but redirecting the conversation back to the topic at hand. For example, if you're asked a question about your salary, you can say something like, "I appreciate the question, but I'd rather not discuss my salary in this setting. Can we move on to the next question?" By responding with empathy and professionalism, you can maintain your credibility and professionalism even in the face of uncomfortable questions. Remember, the goal of a Q&A session is to provide information and insights, not to make you feel uncomfortable. So always strive to stay composed and confident, no matter what questions come your way. The Q&A session is a crucial component of any presentation, providing the audience with an opportunity to ask questions, clarify points, and engage with the presenter. However, as we all know, time is a valuable commodity, and if a Q&A session runs over time, it can be challenging to keep the audience engaged, or worse yet, they might lose interest altogether. So, how do you keep the Q&A session within the allotted time while still addressing important questions? It all starts with preparation. Before the session begins, prioritize the questions you expect to receive, and think about how you'll respond to each one. This way, when the questions start rolling in, you'll be ready to provide succinct and informative answers. When the Q&A session begins, set a tone of efficiency by reminding the audience of the limited time available, and encourage them to keep their questions brief and to the point. If necessary, ask them to follow up with additional questions after the session. If the questions start to pile up and it looks like the session will run over time, don't panic. Instead, take control of the situation by prioritizing the questions that you feel are most important to address. If there's a particularly lengthy question, politely ask the questioner to condense it, and focus your response on the core issue. Finally, when it's time to wrap up the Q&A session, do so with confidence. Thank the audience for their participation and encourage them to continue their engagement outside of the session. By following these strategies, you can keep your Q&A session within the allotted time, avoid losing the audience's attention, and end the session on a high note. Imagine yourself in the middle of a Q&A session, and just as you're starting to get comfortable with the flow of questions, someone in the audience raises their hand. They ask one question, then another, and before you know it, they're asking 5, 6, maybe even 10 questions in a row. This can be a real challenge when you're trying to keep the Q&A session on track, and make sure everyone gets a chance to ask their questions. Here are a few strategies for effectively handling this situation. A gentle interruption can be as simple as saying, "I'm happy to answer that, but let's give other people a chance to ask questions. You can meet me afterwards to answer all your questions." This helps maintain a fair balance among all members of the audience. If a person is asking multiple questions, try to group them together and address them in a single, comprehensive answer. This helps you save time and keep the Q&A session moving. If the situation becomes untenable, it's okay to set a time limit for the Q&A session and kindly remind everyone that you need to move on to the next agenda item. It's essential to be assertive and professional while handling a Q&A session that's running over time. By prioritizing questions and avoiding lengthy responses, you can wrap up the session effectively and efficiently, while maintaining your credibility and the audience's respect. Here is a bonus tip for you. When it comes to handling questions that require a detailed response, consider taking the opportunity to succinctly highlight the most critical points. And then, follow up with an offer to share more in-depth information after the Q&A session. By doing so, you demonstrate your readiness to engage with your audience while also honoring the time constraints of the event. Remember, the goal is to be informative and engaging, not to overload your audience with information they can't process in the moment. Be mindful of the balance and be a responsible Q&A master. In conclusion, the key to success in any Q&A session is preparation, professionalism, and empathy. By understanding the different situations that may arise, you can effectively handle any challenges that come your way and turn them into opportunities. Whether you're facing a tough question, a hostile questioner, or a time crunch, these 7 survival strategies will help you stay calm, confident, and in control. Remember that the more you practice and the more you prepare, the better equipped you will be to tackle any situation with ease. So embrace the challenge, embrace the opportunity, and take your Q&A skills to the next level. So, that's a wrap, folks. We hope you've enjoyed this journey of navigating through the twists and turns of Q&A sessions. Now, it's time for you to put these tips and strategies into practice. Don't forget to like, comment, and if you found value in this video, why not spread the love and share it with someone else who could benefit from it too. And, of course, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay tuned for more engaging and informative videos from us.